Then. We'll start with approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, we'll go with Brad on that one. Okay. Let's go with approval of our minutes. Did everybody read those? They looked short and sweet, didn't they? Okay. All those in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment.
I have something.
Come on up.
All right.
State your name.
Do you want me to go up here?
Yes, please.
So I just have some positive, exciting news on a project front.
Your
that
name.
is happening. Linda Schober.
Okay.
Sorry, with Linda Schober Marketing and Design. Falls area. So I'm just here to tell you guys about many stakeholder groups kind of coming together and creating some trail amenities, specifically, and is creating some kiosks for the Gandy Dancer State Trail, and the Polk County and Friends of the Gandy have kind of come together and hired me to design those kiosks. And we're going to do 6 of them going on down the line, talking about the trail, talking about the sign points of interest. And then on the other side, talking about town history and things to do today so that we can really give visitors a way to say, this is really cool. Look at this town, this history, and then go to the website and see some things to do. So I really just wanted to share that with you, and then how it's kind of moving down the line in having other stakeholders jump on board and say, hey, that's pretty cool that you're paying attention to trails and stuff. And so then the city of St. Croix Falls and the trailhead project that they're, the revamp there, they're going to add another panel that talks specifically about the city of trails and use their map. And that's going to be sort of an add-on to this trail project as well. And then one other thing is that then I'll be taking some of that excitement, and then they've hired me to do actually all of their wayfinding signs in St. Croix Falls. And so my whole point is not to just come here and tell you about the work I'm working on, but really to sort of talk about how stakeholder groups are coming together and getting excited about trail use and building up some amenities. So.
Question, is there a state standard that you have to kind of go by or fit into?
So
Put signs on a state trail, do we have to fit into some kind of little box for that too?
So not that I am aware of, but everything
Okay.
is being completely approved by the stakeholder groups. So anything that I'm designing, anything that I'm doing, they're saying yes, no to those
Because I
kinds
know
of.
some state trails, don't we have to have certain signage, certain colors and all that stuff kind of, I mean, or at least we better ask the state.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Okay.
good point. We'll
To be
definitely-
safe, you don't want to make all these signs and then they say you can't do it.
That, no way, like that color does not work. Yep,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you for letting me jump into this public comment and bring you some positive news on this
Yeah.
beautiful morning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Stephanie Lundeen. I'm a Frederick resident. I also serve on the board of directors for Friends of Gandy Dancer State Trail. So to piggyback off of what Linda's telling you is that, yes, we've been working together on the kiosk project. And yes, there are certain standards as far as trail setback for signage rules, and those are established by the DNR, so those will be followed. I haven't seen any of you biking on the trail, so as a trail user, I wanted to share with you that we've had an awesome season, which has been full of events. We've sold lots of trail passes, etc. Last weekend, we had the full Gandy relay, and teams of people started in Danbury and went all the way to St. Croix Falls in one day. And these teams of people enjoyed themselves. It took anywhere from 5 to about 7 hours to complete. And the team that won was a grandfather-granddaughter team called Two of a Kind. And they biked, hiked, and ran 47 miles in 4 hours and 59 minutes. So that was pretty awesome. This weekend, our friends group will be tabling up at the Jordan Buck Day up in Danbury. So we'll be able to be next to the trail and showcase what we do and what there is to offer there. And then we'll have a weekend off, and then we go into the Gandy Dancer Marathon, which is the trail's largest event of the year, and that's on October 7th. So there'll be hundreds of people running the trail between starting in Luck, going down the Milltown up to Frederick and back. And that event is in its approximately 10th year. And proceeds of that event benefit the Luck Fire Department. The weekend after that, we have Tails on the Trail, and that's a joint effort between the humane societies in this area. Friends of Gandy will be matching donations made at that dog walk event, which will happen in Luck, to the Humane Society, and that's October 14th. And then to conclude, like our events, as far as helping sponsor people have things on the trail, we'll be helping the Frederick Library and the Luck Library on October 21st do a story walk between Luck and Frederick. Our role will basically be there to help them with whatever they need, but also provide warm cider and pumpkin cookies to the families and kids that will show up for that story walk event. Story walks have become pretty popular on rail trails because it improves literacy and also promotes physical fitness and brings families together on public trail systems, because that's what trail systems are for bringing people together. So that's just a snapshot of what's happening this month. Things like this have been happening since last spring. And I invite you to invite the Friends of Gandy group to do a presentation in front of your committee at any time if you want more information from us about our work and why it's important to Polk County and to Burnett County. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Okay, we're good. No other supervisors here. We're safe. They took up their stuff. Come on up, forestry.
All right, so I'm here for the annual work plan, 2024 annual work plan, which is a requirement by the state DNR to be able to apply for the county administrator grant, which pays for half of my salary, 40% of our my fringe benefits. So this is one of the requirements, so go through it just like you guys have every year. There, we can go to, we can skip the mission statement right away, but go to page 3. So I'll kind of start there with just some of the highlights of the work plan. You know, DNR time standards, if you're familiar, the DNR sets aside standard hours for the counties that assist, mostly with Paul, and there's some other foresters and techs that help with us, but they're allocated 473 hours to help me on Polk County lands. They exceeded it this year for 120 hours, especially with the vacancy of Mark this last year, because their fiscal years are different, but their hours exceeded what they were expected to do. So that going forward, that is the number that they strive to hit. So just kind of a background there. Timber sale planning establishment. So we're going to be based on the 2024 estimated 401 acres for the 15-year allowable cut. So we're finishing up our last couple sales right now. Looking to sell them probably in the April-May timeline, and that's when, you know, timber sales will go to approval for you guys earlier than that, and then the bid opening will be sometime next spring. So it's kind of the process where we are now. So hopefully we'll finish those up in the next couple months. Go to the next page. So goal number 2, timber sale administration. So continue to administer all sold timber sales. We have about eight timber sales on the books right now. Just over a couple $100,000 in timber sale value. So my guess will probably a few of them will go active, actual active logging again this fall and winter. We got some big sales that we sold this last year and the year before that probably gonna be coming back too, so. We'll be busy this winter with those ones. Forest reconnaissance, so goal number 3, keep all of our inventory in the forest less than 20 years old. Currently, we have met that and we'll continue to strive to meet that. We do about 1,500 acres of recon updates annually to keep that up to par. Next page, timber stand improvement. Some stuff that identified as goal is through approximately 50 acres of competing vegetation from planted trees, so jack pine, red pine plantation, removing some of the scrub oak and competition on those ones. Got some identified for next year, barring we have enough funding for it, so. Reforestation, so we just completed a couple weeks ago 77 acres of disc trench and herbicide site prep for planting next year. So we have 68,100 trees coming that we had sowed this last winter. So those will be coming from PRT in the spring. So I'll be probably early to late winter, I'll be sending out bids for planting, plant those 3 sites. So those are all ready to go. Trees are getting grown, so we just gotta get some contractors in to plant them and coordinate all that. We're also planning on doing roughly 30 acres of natural jack pine and oak regeneration scarification. We have for sure 1 8-acre shelter wood that we're trying to regenerate oak on that we're gonna scarify next year. Forest protection, continue to treat buckthorn discovered on Polk County forest land, and was continue to have annual meetings with the DNR. Monitor insects, disease, obviously we still have oak wilt out in Sterling. We haven't had any on Polk County. We do have emerald ash borer now in Polk County, so it's something that we'll continue to monitor. We haven't seen any on Polk County lands either, so hopefully that doesn't happen. County forest roads, so we get roughly, well, just under, I think it was 7.6 miles currently that we get funded. I did apply for about 0.2 miles of extra gas tax money this year, so that should go into effect. So this number should be the new number next year for miles on that. I tapped in off of 325th, Town of Lorraine has 325th Ave. We have the road that extends farther than that to the gate in Town of Lorraine, so I added that as a extra funding for us, so. Looking at also in terms of roads, rehabilitating some of the gas tax roads we have down there with just overgrowth on those county roads that we have. So looking at widening them, brushing them, and using some of that gas tax money to get those back up to par.
Those the ones that are within the county forest lands,
Yeah,
they're within,
those miles are county forest land.
within it, okay. All right.
Yep. Low gas tax, it's not your typical like town gas tax allotment. So we get $300 a mile for maintenance, which I believe is quite a bit lower than the. Takes a couple of years to get enough to be able to pay to do something. So,
Yeah,
and we're sitting in about that ballpark. Got enough in the bank that we could start using that, fix some stuff, so. Land acquisition. Well, obviously we had a recent inquiry about the purchase of the Ice Age Trail, 40 acres up in Town of Lorraine. Just had a meeting with the town 2 weeks ago, and they approved us, gave us a resolution adopting and approving to be able to apply for the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant. So that was kind of the next step before doing an appraisal. And I made some calls yesterday, try to get an appraisal ordered, and still waiting to hear back on some folks. So that's kind of where I am on the process. So we did get support there. So the state will be able to utilize that and grant that with the Mills Nelson grant.
Okay,
Be able to go down that trajectory, which is a good thing. So we'll just get that appraisal and then we'll get it on the agenda to discuss our next options coming up whenever that gets completed.
when it comes back, okay.
Yep.
Good.
Surveying, continue to look at line maintenance, establish county surveyor and ourselves. Wildlife habitat, continue to try to regenerate jack pine with a natural scarification. We do have of those 68,000 trees that were planted, just over 13,000 are jack pine that will be that they were extracted from our forest from cones that we collected. So when we collect cones and then send them up for extraction and then send those to the nursery to plant them. So we keep a local Polk County seed source on the Sterling town. So
Okay.
Recreation. So continue to work with parks, improve all recreation user groups, access and safety. It's something that's a big priority of mine, to be able to help them. Continue to write grants, and I'll go into kind of where we are with grants later on the next topic. And continue to assist and implement PTAG trail network on Polk County forests. So kind of miscellaneous, pretty similar to last year. Just continue to issue firewood permits. We're getting a few coming in now. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory overall, so I think we can skip that. Just the last page is just the grants that we either have now, I'm applying for soon, or will be applying for in the spring. I added a decent amount from what we had last year. There's some new ones that I'm trying to tap into to help either Polk County forestry or parks and trail systems. So these are majority of these are ones that I have in the works right now. Continue to apply for those and look for new opportunities and administer as needed. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions on the plan itself or going on in Polk County Forest.
So how widespread is buckthorn on the county forest? Because I mean, on state land and private land, it's prevalent everywhere.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad. Sterling is starting to see some pop up because I think there's a lot coming from the river like from Governors, starting to move its way kind of northeast. So it's not overtaking anything, but you're starting to see, single ones popping up here and there. I try to take care of them as we see them, but other than kind of the Summers Lake piece, it's really low. There's a little bit on, it's some of the, the 2005 acquisition, that was the last time Polk County's bought land. There's some old farm fields and edges and stuff that have encroachment. I would say that's where we usually have our issues, is some sort of farm field edge or an old pasture that's converting to forest. So there's one kind of by the Ice Age Trail west of E, little patch there, but overall it's pretty good. So, a little bit of prickly ash in the town of Sterling, but yeah, buckthorn seems to be in check so far.
So what's the expected cost for the appraisal on the Ice Age land? And
I'm not sure yet. I think the last one was around $1,000 or $1,200. JC Norby, that's who I called yesterday. So I call around and get some other quotes too. But that's roughly, I think, what it's gonna be. I don't know if things have changed since last appraisals or if you guys have seen some new appraisals recently, but I haven't got a number because nobody's called me back. So I don't know if you've done one recently that.
Not, no.
you've seen, yeah.
No, we haven't,
I really, yeah, hoping in $1,000 range, but
or less, yeah.
or less, yeah. So,
All right, well,
and this is, yeah, this is one that would be, need to get approved here and then,
to the board, yeah.
Make a motion to approve the 2024 forest work plan.
And Brad and Doug. All right then, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. Forgot one question. See, the DNR's got a web deal. They want to buy cones
yeah,
for seeds.
Yep.
You got enough, you can go sell it to them?
yeah. Actually, I mean, we're actually.
No, I heard no, you can't. Okay,
Oh, yeah, no, we don't.
okay,
Or you can give me extra people, then I. can-
okay. Yeah.
But it takes a while to get a bushel.
Oh, yeah,
So to crunch your numbers and say it makes sense, doesn't really make sense.
okay,
If you wanna do it for a hobby, it's,
sure.
yeah, we didn't have red pine, they were paying the most, but we didn't have a good red pine crop, so. Just, yeah, I think they're paying $65 a bushel for jack pine cones, so,
Yeah.
you know, pretty much a 50-pound corn bag. It takes a while to make $65,
Yes, yeah.
so.
All right then. Any other questions? All right, thank you. We'll move that to the full board. Perfect. Sure.
And I'll
Then
stay
just-
up- Stay up here for the next one.
Yep, and then just when your appraisal comes in, we'll make sure it gets on our agenda.
It's not, doesn't come from me, Kim.
Okay,
Discussion on grants. So just kind of a recent update, we were, Parks and I went down weeks ago to Wausau, for the ATV council, meeting, which was approval of grants, from what we applied, or I applied for in April. So we were granted the full amount for the ATV intensive use park for $316,940. So, the full amount that was in the, contract with SEH, or the, full amount that they had appraised for what the cost would be, was fully funded. And that also includes the pre-engineering costs. So the amount that SEH paid up, or we paid up front, will get reimbursed too. So that captures their initial engineering funding and some other funding for after, or during it. So that was a pretty big grant acceptance there. Some other grants that were accepted during that time was the Cattail washout. We had a washout on the ATV trail there. So a $6,730 grant was accepted there, to fix that. Actually, to reimburse it, it was a rehab grant, kind of emergency funding. And then I did get Jack Pine Loop ATV miles, 3.3 miles approved for maintenance miles, which was $25.68. And then the Jack Pine Loop trout miles, which trouts are a combination road and ATV use, which part of the Jack Pine Loop is. That one was an estimated to be $1,146.60. So that one's subject to change a little bit. They didn't fully fund all of the portions of the trouts. So I'm still working with the DNR to come up with the actual mileages on one of the portions that they funded. So, but that's roughly about what they're be funding. So roughly, yeah, just over $3,700 for the Jack Pine yearly. So once those are approved, when you apply for new miles, once those are approved, those are maintenance miles that become much easier to apply and get accepted. It's just more of a grandfathered maintenance amount.
so that would be a yearly one, so that would be really good.
Yep. You still have to apply for it, but it's pretty much grandfathered in when they're accepted already.
Okay,
So new miles always go to full council to approve. They can approve or deny based on X, Y, Z. But once the new miles are accepted, then it's just a maintenance mile grant.
oh, okay,
So
maintenance.
they prioritize what was already approved before they would approve new miles.
Okay. So on the intensive use, do we have somebody that's gonna do that, or do we still have to have an RFP for that?
I think we're planning on doing a lot of it in-house.
In-house, okay.
Mike is here if you want to see where the. Is that a purpose?
Oh, okay. Then I got 3 minutes, okay.
Mike's actually, we invited Mike to speak on agenda item 8.
Okay. Agenda item what? C, 7C?
It would be 7C.
Okay. So we won't have time for that until after our. We have the public hearing at 9:30.
Yes, but if we try, I suppose we could get Mike up here within 2 minutes and give you an update.
Holy man, okay,
We can get her moving,
okay,
but yeah. And I got a couple grants that will be due October 1st, October 2nd that I'm working on right now too. So conservation aid grant and then the urban forestry grant.
okay,
So one will be for parks, maybe one for parks and forestry. So
sure,
be some update on different ones later.
okay. Thank you, that's good,
Thank you.
some good news for that. Okay.
We put 40s counters out on the Gandy 2.5 years ago. There was turnover in the office. Ben had this position before I did, so he actually put these out. And to be real honest with you, Ben left about 1.5 years ago. We haven't done anything with them. So they're put out. I don't know when the batteries died. I don't even know what the counts are for sure because we didn't trim brush. I didn't know where they're at. I had to call Ben to find out where they're at. So unfortunately, we don't have any numbers for you, but I'll tell you this is whatever you guys want, what your objective is, we'll certainly get it for you. If your objective is just a count on the Gandy of all users, we can do that. This is just, all this does is put a beam across to a reflector and counts as one person goes by. It could be a horse, it could be a snowmobile, a deer, anything. So I'm assuming if we did pull the counts off this, we're probably in a couple 100,000 just from the leaves and stuff going across. So, if you determine what your objective is on it, I'll be happy to follow through and do whatever you need for counts. But if you want to distinguish on counts between walkers, bikers, or, other users, that's going to take, we'd have to get some volunteers out there to do that. This is just going to give you a count of what crosses that beam. So unfortunately, that's the bad news. We did have them out. They were a third mile south of Milltown, a third mile north of Milltown, and a 3rd mile south of Luck and a 3rd mile north of Luck is where we had the 4 out there. So I guess that's the bad news. But like I said, going forward, if you just want counts out there of users, we're happy to put them back out there. We'll do a monthly count. I'll get it to Bob and he'll report to you on monthly on something like that. So I guess you just need to let me know what you need and we'll get it done for you.
Okay. That might be up for discussion because it doesn't really gonna give us much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say it's a waste of time.
Yeah, that's kind of where,
Yeah.
Time, money, and resources is
Yeah.
better allocated for some miles. You're gonna maintain the trail regardless.
We maintain a trail, yeah, but like I said, this typical one here, all it does is create a beam to a reflector and just counts whatever passes and breaks that beam.
sure,
Whether it be a deer, a person, a biker, whatever. So that's the count you're gonna get off of these.
so it's not very accurate, really,
It's just an accurate of what's going down the trail.
right there.
Yep.
I don't think we're gonna be up for having them up. We'll probably discuss it later at some time, but I don't think, for right now, I wouldn't think we'd put them back up.
No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do whatever you guys want to
No, I
do,
wouldn't.
but I'm not sure what the objective was, is to count specific user groups or not, but it just doesn't do that.
no, and that's what our other studies did. They have volunteers that did that, so. Just thought if those around there did it, did they relate or didn't they relate,
Right.
So, all right, well then, thank you.
Yep.
Takes care of that.
Got her done in 2 minutes.
Good enough. And an easy answer too.
Take away.
All right then, now,
Chairman O'Connell,
as a continuation, do we reopen it or were we done taking?
well,
How did we?
county did provide a class 2 notice prior to the August 2nd public hearing. Yes, you're correct. This is a continuation from the August 2nd public hearing. I can go ahead and read the agenda item, but
So we're gonna open it up yet for testimony then?
correct.
Okay, so then we do have to open it up that way.
Correct.
Okay,
So again, this is a continuation from August 2nd. The applicant's Amanda Grimsley. The applicant requests a conditional use permit under section 42-245 sub C sub 8 the Polk County Code of Ordinances to continue operating a resort on a parcel located at 2004 70th Street in section 24, township 34 north, range 16 west in the town of Georgetown. It's parcel 026-01018-0500. And the parcel is 19.98 acres. If you recall, this property, or what used to be called the Hunky Dory Resort, and it was rezoned earlier this year, if you recall that, to B2. Again, the county provided proper class 2 notice prior to the August 2nd public hearing. There was no public comment received at that time in opposition or in proponency, nor has there been any public comment received in the interim. In addition, the town of Georgetown did not comment on this conditional use permit application. With that said, our consultant Claire is here. It's being recorded and the public hearing has started at 9:34 a.m.
Good morning, everyone. So, let's see, Bob has given a relative background from the August 2nd public hearing. I'm happy to give a little more, but the end of that hearing, the committee requested that the applicant provide a copy of the health department license as well as a site plan to show where the existing cabins are, their square footage, number of bedrooms, as well as the proposed locations of the new cabins and estimated number of proposed number of bedrooms. That was provided to county staff and is in your packets here today. This, Claire, if you want to pull up our packet. If you could please. Could be in. Go down after my staff report. 4 or 5. Perfect, thank you. So the dotted line cabins are the proposed ones that are currently existing, and the solid lines that are all 1 bedroom, and then the 2 26 by 24s that are kind of twin home style, 1 bedroom each, though individual cabins are what is currently existing. That parking lot is proposed as well as the new driveway access. The existing 9 1-bedroom cabins are about 3,484 square feet in total for their square footage. And the proposed new would be 9,000 square feet of new baseline square footage on the ground floors. from the review of the estimated site plan, we did add a couple additional conditions, and actually, I wanted to bring that up quickly before further testimony, is that we did have condition number Z, which is on page 5 of the staff report, was maximum of 42 people on the property at any time. That number was based on the proposed amount of bedrooms, 2 people per bedroom. Staff is recommending that we actually adjust that condition for 42 people for overnight stay, because the lodge is licensed to house 72 people for food and those types of events. And so then we would recommend adding a new condition that would say maximum persons on site at one time may not be higher than what's allowed on the health department license. So kind of have 2 different conditions, one highlighting how many can stay overnight in the cabins and how many may be on site based on the health department license. And the reason we're keeping that general with health department license rather than 70 is if that does ever change, the applicant would have to request an amendment to our conditional use permit. Whereas if we're just referencing what the other county department is allowing, then she wouldn't have to get that amended each time. So those are 2 changes from the report based on some discussions with staff this morning. And then we did adjust Z or A, B, B, C, C were all previously in the August 2nd meeting. Those were unknown because we didn't have the number of cabins in the estimated. So we have changed those to say 9 1-bedrooms, which is what's existing, the 3 4-bedrooms that are proposed, and the 1 6-bedroom cabin. I think everything else is still. Oh, we did add it also why that's a new condition. We just wanted to make sure that once that septic is located, or if it does ever get upgraded, state law requires that it must be, any structure must be 10 feet away from the drain field and the 5 feet from the actual tank. So we just want that referenced as a condition here to ensure that if there are any upgrades to that system in the future, that they're aware of that, where the cabins are located or where they are locating the proposed cabins. I don't think I have any additional updates from the August 2nd meeting unless you have any questions for me right now.
All right, on my printout of conditions, I got Z as the 42. I got AA maximum of 9 1-bedrooms. Is that what you have?
Yep. Mhm.
And 3 2-bedrooms.
3 4-bedrooms. They are not proposing any 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom cabins.
So my double B on my condition says maximum of 3 2-bedrooms. So we should, what does everybody else's in their packet say?
3 4-bedrooms.
Is that what yours says? Mine says 3 2-bedrooms. And then 3 bedrooms.
Do they count? If I
So
remember
we should
right,
change that. Do I have?
Do you have the older one?
The older one is also in your packet. We do have, just for reference, we had the August 2nd conditions written in to show if there were any changes.
Page numbers, mine says 14 for a page number, so.
I got it on page 5.
So do I have the wrong,
Yeah, this is the updated one now that she's.
this was the old one?
Yes,
So the
that's why you're gonna do that.
that's what I have, is what they just gave me.
Yeah, so it's before the site plan on that packet there. Yeah, the new conditions based on the update. There you are. That's page 5 and then
Oh,
just
I got
Four
page 5, then I got 7 to 14, okay.
Yeah, we had the old staff report attached in the back
All
for
right.
referencing. Remind
I
what
kept going, it didn't
happened in
didn't
August.
match up with yours.
do we define the definitions of bedroom sizes?
The state building code does,
Right,
which is referenced, yeah.
okay. So if they have a bigger bedroom, then a 10 by 10, I think it's 140 square feet for 2 people, if I remember right. We're not taking account that, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're just.
So it's
looking at-
cubic feet they use, the health department. So a closet almost makes it as a bedroom. It's pretty scary.
Yeah,
Right.
and then living rooms, we're not, because doesn't the state allow for sleeping of one person in a living room?
I think so, but I think that these cabins are so small that there really isn't that room, is my interpretation, but I could be incorrect on that.
So per state, the state decides, and that bedroom is how you size your sewer system. Whether you have other rooms or not, I guess it's kind of 2 people per bedroom,
Based on the size of the septic,
based on the
Yeah.
size of the septic and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
occupancy is size of the septic.
If the septic had a higher capacity than we are assuming based on 2 people per bedroom, you know, the applicant can always recommend an amendment to the,
sure,
if she has a septic system study done that shows that, she can have that.
Yep.
She can always amend that max occupancy number. But we
Yeah.
don't have that septic system study currently.
sure.
Okay, and then does this follow under a planned unit development?
No. This is not a planned unit development. Nope, this is.
B2.
Yeah, it's zone B2, commercial, recreational, and had been existing. The 9 cabins that exist were running as a lodge for many years. It just hadn't been in the last couple, and so have to re-up their permitting and are hoping to add 4
I thought if
cabins.
you added more than 50% of the value or something, it changes. That's not true.
No, this was rezoned to B2 because it's an allowable use under, a conditional use under B2 district.
Yeah.
A planned unit development, it would not fit, this would not fit within that particular zoning district here at the county.
Okay, so we can't. Or I don't wanna get into too far, but these are for short stays, they're not for long-term tenant or long-term rentals.
Correct, and we,
That would need to fall under, like, they'd have to get rezoned again to convert these to long-term.
So, and we
You're-
put that
you're
like
in
around-
here,
Chris rooming housing,
do it, because it's, that would have to be replanted as a condominium.
yep, and we did.
It's one of the conditions we put in there. If you read the last one.
Yep.
A double H.
And there is the minimal rental period of.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's no maximum, I guess.
This is a lodge, which is different from a tourist rooming house.
And they do meet the setbacks then of the lodge. They have that 100-foot.
Yes.
Okay. Isn't there different setbacks from lot lines and things on that?
Yeah, there are, yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
Could you go back through the numbers? I missed the total number with the lodge you were giving. You got 42 people on the property at any time.
Yep, so the health department license currently allows them to have 70 people on the lodge.
Okay, that's what I wrote down. here.
That's, so then it would be 42 allowed for overnight and then 72 for like a day event or something like that. But you could only the max amount of dwelling unit space, sleeping space is what would be allowed to stay overnight and be a resorter full time or for the week or however long the guests are staying.
So if there was 42, 30 could come approximately, yeah, that makes sense.
To stay over, yeah.
This-
I
yeah.
just was getting, mostly I was getting the total on the lodge. I missed that the first time.
Sure.
I can't see it here.
Is that something we're gonna add, that 70? Where were you gonna put that?
We had
Under-
referenced just in the condition that they would not be able to be higher than what's allowed on the health department license in case that ever increased.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or decreased or you know, because then the zoning department would be notified of that new license as well, so. We certainly can put it in as a specific number, but it just makes it more difficult for,
To do any changes, sure.
Yeah.
And it's already on the other permit, so it's.
right, right, and you, there's a condition built in here, you know, that says they must comply with all other county,
All other-
state,
yep.
federal permitting, yep.
anyone see anything we think we've missed? So they added the driveway, no events, going back to our other ones, number of bedrooms. The health department does the well testing, I think, isn't it? So that we're safe, if I remember.
Yeah, I
think they have to do it for any public,
yeah, we just have a condition that it must be tested annually.
sure.
Mhm.
And so does the health, okay. I think you put maximum watercraft.
Yeah, we did not adjust that from the discussion on August 2nd to 12,
Okay,
with the no personal watercraft, jet skis, et cetera.
sure.
That's still, if that is still what a number the committee feels is appropriate.
Good for mine, yeah, with the no condos, that bedrooms, new driveway. That's everything we had from the first one. Does anyone else see anything that we might have thought we missed? Looks pretty all inclusive.
I think they laid it out pretty well.
I think so, yeah.
So. that's what
So still being a public hearing, we can still hear from the applicant.
Absolutely.
Yes, but come on up, see what you think of this.
Hi, I'm Amanda Grimsley. First of all, should we start with your questions or should I start with my comments?
Start with your comments. I think my questions, I think were covered in the conditions, so that's what we're gonna ask.
One thing I would advocate for is to strike that property owner, agent, or employee must be present at any time on the property when guests are present. Though this is the majority of the time true and how it has always been and always will be, especially when we're doing food service. There are times I would like for it to be more like the tourist rooming houses where it's the 24/7 phone number available, with, a couple of days of staff not being there. So wondering, so on mine, that's I don't know what.
It's
number-
H on ours.
H on yours,
You're asking to strike that?
to strike that
Okay.
and leave the, having an employee available 24/7 with the phone number.
So if you're not there, is the lodge open? Or closed?
Mhm. The lodge is open to like the ping pong tables, hanging out in the main room and the tables for games, but not food service.
Is locked up or something separate? Okay.
So it's like a porch and dining room table access.
Okay, if you're not there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's deal with them one at a time. What does everybody think?
think the contact number is reasonable. myself.
Contact numbers reasonable? Anyone else?
I know, I think with a maximum of 42 people at a time, it seems like a lot to just have to not have somebody there. Or, or at least close by. I mean, I'm okay with wiping it out. I'm just saying with 42 people as a maximum. I mean, that's a lot of people to not have.
Some guidance?
Yes.
Yeah, but on
The
the same-
boss-
Make
the
it
boss
easier,
around,
be
so
simple,
to
yeah.
speak.
on the same side, though, if you brought your family to a place and had a gathering, how many people would be there?
And not very many in my family.
Okay.
Well,
But I don't need a chaperone at my family reunion, like,
Okay.
whole number for emergency at a event like that is plenty, in my opinion.
Do we
Yeah,
have it that they
I'm-
have a response time or something? I mean, you might just have a phone number and you call it, then nobody shows up for a week.
That's a good question.
I mean, maybe
I-
something like that.
I, as the owner, would be an hour away where, our family members and neighbors and other resources who would be a couple steps away or a 5-minute drive away.
Say a broken leg or something happened. I mean, they're gonna call everybody besides 911 and because they're gonna blame it on you, so.
Mhm. So the response time would be anywhere between 5 minutes to an hour of getting a phone call and being able to be on site is my best guess.
So should we put something in that it has to be
Yeah, I'm
responded to
fine
or
within
something?
an hour, hour and a half even. I mean,
Just that there's a response time that you
Yeah.
do it the same day they call.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
See what I mean? That somebody could call that number, then you don't come for 2 days if it's Friday
Yeah,
or
I gotcha.
Saturday.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking we should put a response time,
I'd say an hour would be.
hour and a half.
yeah, I'm hour and a half even, I'm fine with it. It's just there to know that, you know, they have to have somebody to respond to something within.
Within
Like
that
you're right,
time.
not
'Cause
2
if it
weeks,
isn't
not 2 weeks
911,
from now.
It's something about the buildings or something. They're not gonna call the cops every little thing, so.
Right, yep.
Okay.
I guess agreeing with Brad, I would say that they have to respond. They can't just talk to them and say.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like you say, a day later.
Yeah.
Should be within that hour, yeah.
Yeah, so response time has to be within what,
Just drive
hour and a
out
half?
there and find
Yeah.
out.
I mean, you're okay with an hour and a half?
I am. I think that that's appropriate. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't happen. We've never had any history of really any problems in calls. We do have a first responder that's about 5-minute drive away. So if it was medical, there is quickness. I mean, if they remain on the lake that they're at. But we have never had any police calls or anything like that in the past. So that's why I think it's appropriate
Yeah.
to do so.
Because
Our-
they would call you before the police maybe.
Totally.
You know,
And our
if two
resorters-
cabins are having a fight, do they call the cops or you?
Yeah.
You know, that they can't get along?
Yeah.
Let's hope they call you instead of the cops.
Yeah,
So-
since they've been established there for so long, our neighbors know us very well too.
Okay,
Keep a watchful eye, care very much. Our resorters care very much about this place. The same family's been coming up to 90 years to the same place, generation after generation. So
sure.
their care for the place is just as strong as family members. So really, that's why no phone calls have ever happened, because they're keeping each other in check as well. And that would be my hope for the future as well. Obviously, I don't know, I can't say for sure who would be renting, but I would think that all those kind of parameters would still be in place.
Still, but yeah,
I'm,
so we would add a response time on,
and I'm fine with 2 hours. I mean, I think 2 hours
Would
even
be
is a
even easy.
decent
2 hours,
response time.
okay.
So I'm,
so we would do 2 hours
This is good.
to add on I and strike H. Okay,
Second thing is the no events, no weddings. So my sister got married at the resort. We've had resorters. My parents got married at the resort. I would love to get married at the resort, my cousins, just a lot of variety. We don't do many of them, but it is been a very sentimental kind of core part of that property. And I would like for there to be some leeway and to be able to continue that tradition. So I would volunteer maybe limiting those events, putting a number on it. So that I know your concern is that it doesn't become a big venue for that, but could we kind of find a in between there?
so you're looking basically instead of no, like say 5 weddings or 6 a year or something.
Yeah, 6 or 8 a year and just put a
Oh,
number on
I
it.
should have picked a smaller number. I knew
In my mind, I was thinking 6 or 8.
Does that change what notice we have to give?
No.
Okay,
I think it's just the size of the event would be the only thing, and as you see, we're a smaller number, so that,
Oh, you're at 70,
yeah, the
unless you want to change that, we're not.
That's,
health,
What?
it's health
That's the
department.
health department.
Yeah, so I mean, so
Still
if
would
you have a
be
wedding, it's gotta be small, because you only have 70 people.
exactly.
So then we just decide if we want a number. What would you have?
So
6 months, 1 a month?
I'm fine with 6 or 8 for the year. I'm fine with, let's say 8 for the year. I don't see our family members ever exceeding that.
I'd say 80 or
so I can see a fight coming there. if it's a family member, do they have to, does that count?
That's a great question, but
Oh, yeah.
sometimes these are distant
If it's a
cousins.
family member, does it count?
Cousins.
Generally not,
Because a family member, I mean,
like with a tourist rooming house.
like with a tourist rooming house, as a family member, I can be there. So,
But this is a lodge, this is a commercial.
no, I
Endeavor.
know, I know, all I'm getting around is if a family member is not going to be considered one of, let's say, the 8. Now we're opening it up to,
Oh,
10,
we can
12.
just say 8 with everything. Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
agree.
I still think, I think,
8
Okay.
plus family?
Total of 6.
no, I think a total of 6. I mean, otherwise it starts to become, there's a wedding gonna be allowed there every
Weekend.
4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Depending upon.
Okay, 6.
Why limit them?
Because that's not what,
Then it's
It's a business that's paying taxes, that's increasing the property values, and as long as they're doing it safely and it's small, there's been no opposition to it,
And that's the
to screw it up.
thing is, that's more day use where this is overnight use, so. Yeah. So then I understand that you want to not have that be the sole purpose, but. Yeah, whatever you guys feel is appropriate, but definitely needing some option for that.
some event options.
Yeah.
So we should just say 8,
I'll
compromise.
go with 8.
Let's go with 8.
That's a total.
Sound,
That's family, that's everybody.
that's everything.
right?
Total of 8
Yeah,
events.
total of
Just
8.
8. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
she
Other
says
than
she
from-
can live with it.
yeah. It goes from lodge to an event center
Mhm.
instead, yeah, okay.
And I understand that concern, not wanting, like, it would be different if it's an event center. And I mean, if that would ever be the purpose in the future, that would be sounds like a rezoning and doing all that, but there's no goal to make that,
That big.
that's not our purpose. Yeah, but we just need some options in there.
Sure.
So we do we need to, forget it, I was on double G again, but, because now we're going to allow them, before we were not allowing them to have wedding events or conversion to a wedding venue. Now we're allowing them. So do we need to,
8 events, but still not to converse to that without a permit.
I agree.
So,
right, we need
So
to
we got to
change,
word it that way.
change the wording.
Yeah.
yes, so we need that not to convert to it without a permit, okay. All right.
Okay.
Is that all you're pushing for? Oh, you want more?
This is a big change for our place from, since 1902, not really having, just the health and the cabin kind of codes, but otherwise not having much like say in who can come and rent it for the day or come bring their boat and fish. And now this has been a big adjustment for family, like, oh man, there's a lot of parameters. So the next one on mine, it's E, no RVs, tents or campers allowed for overnight stay. So a part of this zoning is, my understanding is that it's 2 RVs and 2 tents allowed under this zoning code. So I would like for that to be allowed. Once again, we don't have those right now, but I would like that availability.
What number is that for us?
That would be
It's still E.
D.
D, way up.
D as in
Sorry.
dog.
Oh, no camp, okay. And that's from the tourist rooming conditions, is it not? You have that
Yeah,
because of the small lots. So,
You look at the top. And the mount, it's not like a yard. Yeah. 2 and 2 would be acceptable to me. I mean,
don't you ask for 2 and 2?
Yeah, because that's what's allowed under the zoning is 2 and 2.
she-
Okay.
Suggestions, so.
Let's go with 2 and 2. What does everybody think?
Does that increase the total capacity of 42?
No, still that number.
Yes, you know, for our eating meals, obviously they're allowed because our lodge and feeding them is larger than that. I guess when you guys are putting a number on how many humans can be on site at a given time. Or, I mean, no, what's the 42? Stay overnight at a
Overnight,
time?
yeah, overnight stay.
Then I,
For dwellings, I would say.
okay, keep the 42 as per dwelling, and this is essentially a separate dwelling, but it would,
It's camper. So,
yeah. But I would like,
I mean, there's 50-foot campers, so
Yeah,
you can't say 2 people in a camper, like.
yeah,
Can't we up it to 52 or 54? I mean, it just seems acceptable to me. I don't know. what you
So if
guys
each
think.
campsite had 4 people.
Yeah.
Well, that would be
I didn't
that
even
would
go
be
to 4, I
16
only
more.
went to 2. But I only counted 2 plus 2, you know.
If
I
there's
made it
2
up.
RVs, it'd be 4 people. I
Yeah, I
thought,
made
each
it
one.
up, so, yeah.
So it'd be like 16 or 8 and 8 is 60, you know, 16 more. So it would add to that total.
I'd just bring the 42 into the dwelling units. And then allow for the additional 2 campers and 2 tents.
Oh, I see what you're doing. So go back on to Z and
So,
just
but
maximum
now we're
property,
gonna, if we're
stay
gonna,
over.
if we're gonna allow for another 16 people to stay overnight, is our sewer big enough? We're back to that again.
Yeah,
Where's the sewer capacity? Is there the sewer capacity to add those 16
16
overnight
people.
guests?
and that is part of this paperwork in order to open is needing to make sure that it is up to that capacity. So I think the first step is knowing from you guys that it's allowed. The second part is making sure that it's up to code to what's allowed.
that's
So
what,
for example, the sewer, especially outside of the lodge, does need to be able to hold and handle the amount of people that's in the lodge and on the resort, yeah.
and not all the bedrooms, sure. So that's
So
one of
for-
the other conditions, so then.
Yeah, so if we're allowing 2 campers and 2 tents, right? How many people in each of those? Cause I could
just-
bring in a big camper and I could bring in a big tent.
I'm just thinking 4 and 4, just to make it easy.
Are the restrooms in the lodge open 24/7?
Seasonally, we do, but anything that would be open seasonally other than that would have their own restrooms and stuff. For example, like the new cabins would have their bathrooms 24/7. Because
System's gonna hold.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make it big enough. So that would have to be added to it, that these campsites would be added to the size of the sewer. If we did it with 4 and 4. With two tents and 2 RVs would be 16 more people. Okay,
so your choice of saying 42 in the, you know, rentable cabins versus saying,
camping is 16 then,
yeah, 58 for on-site.
yeah, total.
To give a little perspective, we have been there since 1902, and this is, we would have about 96 people. That's what the lodge is actually zoned for. It's 96 people. The lodge has not changed its looking capacity. I did call the health department asking why did it go from 96 to 70? They just said they were trying to save me money. And it's like $100 difference. So, but in the sense of where we've been and what we've been able to host in the past, there's not a huge amount of change. Grandma's land was great around it, and now it's family still around it. And we are on a little smaller footprint, but not by great. There's a couple cabins that went to aunts and uncles, but we're pretty much on the same footprint that has been serving this 96 people for a long time.
Okay,
So we are essentially like cutting that in half as we're on 20 acres.
County Health Department?
What was that?
That came from the county?
Yeah.
The reduction?
Yeah, I called, because I was looking at grandma's, and hers was always in the 90s, so that's why I questioned.
Do you have any feedback from that, Bob?
No,
I mean, if they're allowed the 96, it's not ours to take away.
No, their license now is only for 70.
Yeah.
She would have to get a different license. if
She
it
said the
goes so
building
much.
hasn't changed.
When I called and asked them yesterday why it changed, they just said because I'm not having that many people currently there, they're trying to save me money by saying 70. So it's a moderate versus a whatever the next word is. And so if I'm willing to pay that extra 100, which I am, and keep it, our chairs in there is for 100 people at our tables. So 96 about, I believe is the number on it. But he said we could do that right now, or when I renew next year. I mean, nothing has changed in the building. It's all the same. So that's why, I don't know.
Are you gonna up it then? Do you think?
I said if he's gonna come out today and tomorrow and just clarify that literally nothing has changed. And then, yeah, I would like to include that. So especially for if I'm gonna be doing septic repairs, I would like to do it appropriately. I don't wanna do it for 70 people and then have the capacity for 96 and then have my repairs fall short. And so I would like for the standards to be set, so I know exactly how to be doing the repairs, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I do think I'll be changing to 96, whether I want to pay the $100 now or if I want to pay it when I renew the license. He said it's less paperwork next year when I renew, but that's either way is fine with me.
Well, that way, when you come in to renew this, you could change numbers on this also a little bit then, couldn't she? If her septic system can handle it more.
If we approve this conditional use permit, it's 72, does she need a whole new conditional use permit when she goes to 96?
No, because it says according to what the health
Yeah, that would-
department, who is the one checking the septic.
Yeah,
That's
it
my
would only
understanding.
be if that 42 people for overnight stay increased, that would, she wouldn't need a whole new permit, but it would require an amendment if she wanted to up that number, but the health department one, this wouldn't require an amendment from the way we wrote it, the condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seeing that, we're going by occupancy in the bedroom, so that makes sense. Okay.
I also want to make a note of
Let's go
the,
back to this to see if we're gonna let you do it. Are we gonna decide to let her have 2 and 2, 2 RVs and 2 tents?
Yeah.
And consider it 16 people. We better on consensus, say yes or no to that. What's, yes? What do you think? I think yes too, yeah.
No, that's all right.
You knew that was coming. All right, so that's a good thing, see? Okay, now let's go to the next one.
well, I was just gonna mention, so where the parking lot kind of currently is, and I'll put down gravel, so it's, meeting your guys' standards. I just want to mention that there is a field right next to it that is part of that 20 acres, that is my land, already flat with no trees, that if I do need additional parking, or if down the road that changes and it doesn't seem sufficient, there is additional space available because I know that parking like the last meeting was a concern. There is space to allow for future. Like if everyone's driving themselves, suddenly there is space to allow for them.
Okay,
The last thing, Grandma was sad about the no fireworks. So we do fireworks usually like 3 times in the summer. I don't know if you guys would want to put a limit on that. Obviously, because this has just been our land and fireworks are allowed in Wisconsin, we do fireworks, especially on Grandma's birthday on the 4th of July. So wondering is that usual to have no fireworks for a resort or cabin thing? And are we able to put a number on it?
I just want to back up, kind of back
Yep.
up 1 minute.
yep, go ahead.
We already increased the camping, but did we increase, if she increases her permit, we'll go with 96? What do we, what was our,
That's for the health department to set.
yeah, that's what we went with.
But that'll be the amount of people. The 42 is still the amount of bedrooms. and
Right,
people.
but I just wanted to clarify it up. there.
Yeah,
That's all Jeremy said. With the permit goes with
Yeah.
the health department. Yeah, okay,
okay.
I'm
yeah,
good with that.
I'm with that too.
Okay, now we'll go on to fireworks.
So fireworks, do you need a license to fire, shoot
This is
fireworks? off?
less important. It was just surprised. My family was surprised, but
event.
What?
To me, it's an event when you have that many people and you're allowing 100 people there. I mean, there's a
To
higher
do
risk,
fireworks, don't
there's
you
a
have to
higher
have a
risk.
permit
in-
if you're
Yeah,
doing?
you have to get it, well, okay. You have
Don't
to
you have
get
to
a
have?
permit from the town,
Yeah,
even if it's 4th of July.
Mhm. So what are the rules if it's grandma's birthday? I don't have any resorters there. Am I still allowed to light off fireworks on my own property?
It's not an owner occupied property, so it's a business.
So I'm not allowed to.
yeah.
So if we want to light off fireworks, we should go 5 steps over to my aunt's property.
There you go. See, you know how to get around.
Okay.
Just don't break the rules. Ben.
Grandma's
Just-
fireworks will be, yeah.
And
And you still need a permit to
And you
light off fireworks.
to light up big ones, you still need a permit, I would think.
Any
Yeah.
fireworks. I mean,
Any-
like, we didn't allow any fireworks this year just because it was dry,
Yeah,
you know, and it isn't that I don't think it's hard to get them from a town. It's just there again, if it's bone dry, you're probably not, you know, as this summer, your town's probably not going to give one out. You know, on the 4th of July or for grandma's birthday.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily because they don't want you to do it. Safety reasons.
so should we put without permit? No fireworks without permit?
No permit. Let's do that.
Would that work? That would cover us. Then if they lit fireworks and got caught, they didn't have a permit. At
Lots
least
of
we,
people that late
at least we,
works. Maybe they can do it on grandma's birthday. too.
You could do that and still limit the amount of times. I mean, like she had asked for maybe 3 times in the summer, you could say.
I wouldn't put any, I'd just say no fireworks without a permit.
That's
And
fine.
if she got a permit, she could do it every night like Disney or something. I don't know.
Sure. That sounds right.
That's we're kind of covered.
I
Yeah.
agree, yeah.
Just said no fireworks without a permit. Okay,
I don't have any other
you
questions.
can work within the rest now. You can.
It is already, all of our resorters are like, what? Our whole family can't come anymore? Only half of us could come. It's a big adjustment for us. So thank you for being flexible. But yeah, new season. Any other questions you guys have?
Anyone, any questions?
When will the building start?
When will the building start of the new ones?
Yeah.
Not for a couple years, a year or 2. Right now, it's septic and I just did electrical work and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, driveway, all those kind of things.
Stuff, okay.
So that's.
All right.
They have to put upon completion then? Of these cabins?
Well, the permit is
Can't really
valid if
apply.
there's any work done within a year.
Yep.
And then within 2 years, it's still valid. So really, the permit expires after 2 years if she doesn't do anything.
Right.
Um,
We can't allow 42 people to be there without cabins.
Right, and those will go through those will go through the building and the existing ones will have to go through building inspection and
Yeah.
code updates through the town. And then the new ones will have to get land use permits, so still be in the loop.
Yeah.
for the permit.
So just like the,
42 people can't stay there until those are done.
yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good question. So is the 42 because of, is it something that we should say per the lodging as well? Like it was per the health department? Because if things change or the rules change with the lodging, allow for that to be done? Or are we saying 42 because of the acreage or because of the septic? Because if the septic's allowed, I mean, up to code to the 96 people, why?
but
It'd be
that's
the
an
bedroom.
event
It's your
center.
bedroom.
42 people is overnight, so it's 2 people per bedroom.
Yeah,
That's the
All
amount of
right, so
bedrooms
that's
you have.
each number of bedrooms, you get 2 people overnight.
2 people instead of
bedroom.
like a hotel would be like 4 people, queen and queen. No, it's 2 people, 1 and 1. According to the lodging, you're saying?
See, that's the health department decides the size of that. I mean,
And-
otherwise, you could say a bedroom, you could have 8 people in 1 bedroom.
Building code, yeah.
Now what a mess we're gonna have, yeah,
You asked about living room. Question.
which doesn't apply.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good? All right. We'll have staff kind of make sure that we went
Yep.
So
changes.
I want to get back to Jeremy's question again. I think what Jeremy's getting at is, I mean, what's the number they can have today?
Right.
I don't think the existing cabins are not in a condition for livability. Is that correct?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be rented until like.
They have to be
summer.
fully remodeled to be updated to the uniform dwelling.
Yeah,
code.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
not
but I
adding
mean,
these new
but
ones
we're
for
not
public
adding, if
use.
we're not adding a cabin for 2 years, what's the number they're adding? I mean,
They're adding a lot.
they're adding,
They're
let's say of the 42 people, they're gonna add 30 of them.
Sure, yeah.
They've only got really 12 right now, so we can't bring in 42 people to stay next year where we have
Overnight.
12 bedrooms.
I would say upon completion of the new,
Yep, we can add that to,
and I'll only allow what they
To
can
see is only, yeah,
house right now.
yeah, upon
what's
completion.
available.
Yeah, whatever it is available at any given time,
Yeah.
up to 42, right?
Until they're built. Yeah, if they build one and then the one for another 6 months.
Right, every time a new home is built, they can add
They
that
can
many
add the
people to
amount.
the number, but they
Yeah.
can't just go to 42 today.
They'll also receive certificates of occupancies as they're updated or built. So we could build a condition in like that, that
Oh,
each
sure.
cabin is only allowed to, be rented and stayed in until the certificate of occupancy is provided by the building inspector. I mean, we could do that for a time being and then keep this overall maximum of 42 people for thinking in the future.
For the
But yeah,
public.
being aware that for now, they're only allowed to be rented and stayed in once the CO and land permitting process is complete. Does
Okay.
that make sense? And
Yep, that's what we should have in, like, yeah.
But we don't really have their building plans to say how many people can sleep in their bedrooms. They might design a cabin that's only, it could be a 2-bedroom, but it's only big enough for one person in each bedroom.
But that's the health department.
That's the health will
decide.
decide that and the building codes will decide it for us. So if they do
Not the
9
same as-
one-bedrooms or 3, 4, or 1, 6,
that would require an amendment to this permit.
yeah.
If the building plans came in different than what's proposed here, that would require an amendment. So. But we certainly can add the certificate of occupancy one to incorporate. We understand this is probably gonna be a phased process with construction and things, so if you wanna start renting ones that are ready and have been certified while others are being built and remodeled, I think that's the best way.
That's the best way to do that, sure. So add that one too then.
Okay.
Yep. All right, with all that, you said the township, nobody else, no other response from anyone?
No response, no letters of opposition, both
For
for
or against? Okay,
or against.
okay. All right then, should we
I can go through the updated.
go through it or should we close it first?
The public hearing.
We'll close the public hearing now then,
Yep.
because everybody's spoken, so we'll close that at 10:19.
So we had.
Now we can go through
8 in each
everything and check. All right. So let's start with what findings of fact?
Or do you wanna do the updated conditions to make sure we got those correct?
Yes,
The findings?
and then go to, yes,
Just to make
yes,
sure we're all on the same page when it
yes.
goes to the board. Yep. So I have recommendation condition D struck out and amended to 2 tents and 2 campers are allowed.
A total of 16 person.
Yep.
Okay,
I can add the total.
So, Mr. Chairman,
yep. Where you at?
we have a maximum of 42 people, but their new bedrooms, their new proposed bedrooms will house 54 people
Yeah,
besides
well, these are
any
just
of the new ones.
proposed, they don't know how many they're gonna do. So if it goes over any of the limit, they could do 9 ones or they could do 2 6s. Or a maximum of. So that's. So it's kind of weird how they have it worded that they can put so many.
Yeah,
Well, let's get to it. We're on D right now. Let's just go through all of them that we did right. So we went 2 and 2 with a max of 16 people. Does that sound right?
For
D, okay,
indeed.
all right.
And then
H,
H we struck.
H,
Oh, sorry.
That's clear. Can you scroll,
This guy-
please?
Hey, it's Clear Lake too.
Yeah.
It's just bouncing off the walls here.
Wrong way,
Sorry, wrong
back
way.
to the conditions.
There we go. Yep, we'll
Strike
striking out
H.
H and adding that, you know, the,
Response time to 2 hours.
yep, property owner, agent,
On
employee
I.
must have response time within 2 hours. Yep. Okay,
And it's M.
I'm not sure what we can and cannot fill out.
No fireworks without permit. Just
I
add
said without town permit, would that, or is it?
without,
You want permit?
I'm
I
fine
think
with
just permit in
I
case
think
it's state
permit.
or
Yep,
something else. Yeah.
yep.
Okay. without
Instead of
permit.
being specified.
Great.
Okay.
And then,
Then we go all the way to the maximum people. Okay. So then they just put maximum numbers on each one of those cabins. So if they did 9 ones, if they did this, then if the numbers change, I think that's where we catch that.
So Z would be for overnight stay, the 42 people.
Yes, that's the overnight part.
Oh, for her, okay, so I'm sorry.
We couldn't leave it at 42 if we have camping and tents and camper.
yeah,
Oh, so we have to have, we gotta add that 16, so it'd be 58, wouldn't it?
mhm.
Okay, so that number should be 58 then right now.
We'll amend the to be 58. For, and then we're also, 'cause this was, I recommended this update this morning, was that instead of on property at any time, that will say overnight stay.
Yes, overnight stay totals. So the overnight stay total,
Yes.
should we put when built out, or how are we gonna limit that till they get to that point? Or you're gonna add that on the end one?
Yeah,
aren't
I
you?
have another, yep.
Okay,
And then GG, I just struck out and amended it to 8 wedding events annually and no conversion to a full wedding venue.
okay,
And then the addition of II, which I had recommended in the public hearing, was that we would have a condition that said maximum persons on site at one time may not be higher than what is allowed on the health department license.
okay. Yes, that covers this health department license, yep.
And then as the applicant was talking through some future expansion plans, with parking, I wanted to add a condition, JJ, that just says any parking or impervious surface expansion must be 25 feet from a mapped wetland, because this property does have a really large one on the rear part, so although that's already a law and incorporated in the conditions by ensuring that, she must follow county code, I just think it's good to point it out in there so that it's top of mind if she is mapping out things and where expanded parking might go in the future. Just because the county rules 25 feet.
Okay,
And then KK, the certificate of occupancy must be completed prior to renting out any cabins.
so the certificate would do that, but how do we limit the number until that happens? So if she only got
Well,
one
sir-
cabin approved,
But a certificate of occupancy then would even need to be done for their existing cabins
yes,
as they're retrofitted. So
Mhm.
if they need one for everybody who stays, every cabin should have that certificate before
Before the 58 people.
the
before the
58,
58, okay.
before the 58 people.
Okay.
And most of these conditions too, with the septic viability and well and driveway, those are already written in that those studies have to be completed, that driveway has to be implemented before even, let's say, a camper could come stay on the
Yeah,
property,
oh,
right?
okay.
'Cause they
So
can't
we're pretty well
access-
covered
You
then.
can't access it currently with the driveway situation.
Sure.
So that stuff's kind of built in with these other
Sure.
conditions that we didn't really touch on, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
So are we gonna allow the campers because then realistically, as soon as the driveway is built, the camper and the tents with 16 people could come.
As long as we have the septic that we know that the septic system
That
is
septic, yeah,
viable for that. Yep. Correct.
because that would be the only overnight stay right now, because the cabins aren't open yet.
Yep.
So if the septic's big enough, yeah,
Mhm. And working properly,
yeah,
leaking or anything.
Campground until they get the cabins done.
yeah, they don't have a big campground
They're
there,
limited.
Yeah,
One,
you
two.
still only have 4.
so,
Right, it would be limited to the 4 we've allowed in this permit.
okay.
Correct.
I'm good. That many? All right, then, let's go through findings of fact to get,
Those are up, Claire. They're like Page 2. Okay, so this request concerned is a 19.98 acre parcel in the town of Georgetown. Purpose of this conditional use permit is to reopen a resort on the property. The property was previously operated as part of the Hunky Resort for many years, but is not operated in the last couple of years. There are 9 cabins and 1 large lodge structure on the property. There's 1 large wetland complex that runs parallel to the road. Clara Lake is a class 2 56 acre lake with no public access. The access to the property is off of 70th Street, a town road. The property currently does not have a legal driveway access. The resort is a conditional use under the B2 zoning district. The town of Georgetown recently approved the property B2, knowing the intent of reopening the resort. The application has a total of 13 cabins besides the lodge. 9 of the cabins exist on the property are 1 bedroom. 3 proposed new cabins are 4 bedrooms. 1 proposed new cabin is 6 bedrooms. The applicant provided the proposed location for the new driveway into the property on their site plan. The applicant is proposing 30 parking spots. The county provided a proper class 2 notice prior to this hearing and did not receive any public comments on this request. And the property's health department license is current.
on number, I'm just gonna go back, number 10, the Georgetown recently approved the rezoning of the
Mhm.
property. Should we put that in there?
Yes, I can add that word.
That, yeah, that's
Rezone.
rezoning.
Yep.
To B2, okay.
There's something we can do about 16 yet?
30 parking spots.
It's not close to enough.
And if we're
What's
allowing,
required-
if we're
what's-
allowing 8 weddings,
70 people,
they were giving that, or.
But it could be 96.
yeah. What's the parking? What do we have to have for a commercial? So many per square feet of the building, isn't it?
That's correct.
Correct.
Because it's not like a house where you have 2 per house or 2 per room. This is the square footage, so many per square footage.
The total square cabin.
No, just the lodge, it would be for parking to start with.
Square footage of the lodge.
Off the top of my head.
If they don't want to have weddings there, then I can say that we don't need extra parking,
Right,
but if we're,
there is room for more parking.
But I mean, at 2 per vehicle, we're only getting 60 people parked.
Why don't you
Yeah.
say that the parking needs to be sufficient for the number that's hosted?
The what?
So like if there's any event, a wedding, the parking needs to be sufficient for the number of guests anticipated.
it's gotta be a regulation that we already required.
That's, I think it goes, I think it goes, every 10 feet, this. There's
Right.
kind of a formula that you go through on a public
We have-
building.
It probably fits for the lodge,
I
but
bet.
not with that 70, whatever the health department may allow for per people. And so if we're allowing that, we can, like she's recommending, we could just have a finding that it must comply with, or it complies with the health, number has to comply with the maximum that the health department allows on the property. For something. That was not.
I wouldn't put it in a
secondary
finding, I would put it in a
In a
condition.
condition,
Put that
yeah,
in.
take the finding out,
We can add it.
Expand upon GG.
yeah, and remove
So
remove
go to
finding,
GG.
15.
I don't know.
At least you seen it, yeah.
One comment I'd make on parking, I understand where you're going and what you're looking at, but this is a slow project. And she already said that she has more land, which it shows right here on this one.
Yeah,
And she'll add more parking as needed, you know, it's available.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be, the finding could be adjusted that the property has available space for expansion of parking.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
just add that on 16
That would be, yeah, amend 16 to,
to just say that there is,
that is a
Area for
finding of
parking.
fact, yeah,
okay,
that the property has ample space for expansion of parking.
sure. All right. And we just went through all the conditions, so. Any other questions or anybody? Covered pretty well, do we think? So with that, I'll entertain a motion. If there are no questions.
Conditions of the conditional use permit.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Jeremy. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, that will move forward. So we need a closed session today. We kind of did that last night. There was no big updates to have a closed, was there?
I don't think that we need a closed session. Next second one in October. You're not having one the first week in October, right? Second meeting in October, I think we should.
So we're getting to that.
But not today.
Not today, okay.
Just last night, you talked about Judge Black, and he also had to stay on it.
We requested a stay of his decision. We also requested a reconsideration. Those were the two.
Nothing, like, he hasn't come back with any response.
No, both parties were drafting their briefs on the motions. Hearing was set for today. That was removed from the calendar. 2 hearings are set for next week where we're gonna argue. And then we hope we have a decision before the equestrian season.
Okay.
But it's gonna cut it really close.
Clear. Thank you.
Got it close. Okay. Subject matters. How good are we going?
Skip the props up.
Yeah, we got 9.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go to 10.
I skipped you. I tried. It
Can we
didn't
go to
work.
13?
Yeah, I did. Got caught right away. Couldn't skip anybody today.
Which is fine. I don't have a lot. I did want to point out, Chairman O'Connell and the Environmental Services Committee, in your packet was the Land Plus Water survey. They're working on their strategic plan. Deadline, September 26th. You all are members. I believe the survey takes 10 minutes to complete. It's online. The link is in the packet, if you recall, it's this. If you're challenged with doing online surveys, there's a hard copy available as well, which you can use and just simply get it to us and we'll mail it to you. I just want to point that out. I do want to share with you today, our land and water team in collaboration with facilities is up at the Clam Falls Dam. There's a new deliverable, 11th hour deliverable. And there's a slew, I've been told, of volunteers up there as well. So they're doing some train the trainer.
Is she there?
What's that?
Did the gal come up?
She is coming up to
When?
do, we're encouraging her as soon as possible. But
Can we be there? Can we actually talk to this gal and see what's wrong?
Chairman
with
O'Connor,
the
do you
work?
mind, the other folks
No, not-
need some contact.
Okay.
Okay.
I
So-
don't, Brad knows what I'm talking about. Oh my God.
So last Wednesday, a week ago today, our plan was to draw down the dam last Friday. Well, we got an email from the DNR. There's a deliverable required for the permit to draw down during the entire drawdown between, and again, it started yesterday, so we had to postpone it a couple of days because of this deliverable. We've been asked to recruit volunteers, also work with staff. I believe we're trying to draw down 6 inches per day. The deadline would be October 15th for a full drawdown. We are to go out and inventory that entire flowage for mussels, collect them, count them, measure them, and then relocate them in the deep hole, which is pretty much where the bridge is. So I'm just sharing that with you right now because our team with Land and Water is out there right now training the volunteers on collection as well as the inventory. We've created some data sheets, some methodologies. We'll put a buoy out on the deep spot for them to relocate. Might be hazardous work, and mucky. And in a day or two, you won't have access via boat or canoe. So we'll see how it goes. But back to your question, Chairman O'Connell, there is a mussels specialist that we've invited to come out to get her put eyes on the site, and maybe we'll have a change in direction. But Land and Water also did a little recon out there. We know where there are areas they're not going to be, like the areas, those back bays where there's a lot of aquatic plants. We're not going to find mussels out there. We might not even find mussels at all, but it's a curious and interesting project. And something that came in the 11th hour. I just wanted to share that.
So here's my question then. I'm gonna ask maybe Malia.
We should probably wait until this topic is on your agenda.
No, it's on the, it's an important thing right now because
It's important, but it's not on your agenda.
it's an update, isn't it?
No, we're talking about what you're gonna have topics.
How
for
could
your
he
next
just told
committee
it?
meeting.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's where we're at.
I'm just giving you an update on what we're doing.
So we're gonna have a meeting after the meeting. Can we notice one?
No,
24 hours? Well, who has the authority to shut us down like this? How do they? One gal? It's unbelievable. I wish I'd have known that. I would have put it on here because it's that stupid.
Another update would be the amendments to the shoreline and comprehensive ordinance regarding tourist rooming houses. Malia is drafting a petition to notice the amend the ordinance. This will be done within the next week, so we meet the notice requirements. So what I'm looking at is probably that would be a October 18th agenda item. And that's also when there would be a public hearing. Also, at that meeting, the second meeting in August, I believe.
you mean
Don Wortham-
October.
Excuse me, October, forgive me, October 18th. Don Wortham will be here for any refinements of our budget. I think that is also in our work plan, which I do not have.
Yes, it's in our work plan, the October one.
Where is it? So with that, I'd like to just talk about the work plan. If you look at October, the groundwater study results, Land and Water is asked to deliver those results in November. The budget, again, would be the second meeting. The 10-year Land and Water Resource Management Plan update, we did that last month, if you recall. And then lastly, those technical amendments to the county budget will also be on the second meeting in October. So as you might see what I'm trying to do here, October 4th, the first meeting in October, we don't really have a lot of content. And if this adds any value, I'm also on vacation, so there's that. So I guess what I'm suggesting is no meeting October 4th. Unless,
Rezoning, still other
no, we have.
tourist rooming house, anything?
Yep.
I'm gonna break in and have a question. So if we're meeting the morning after the next county board meeting, how are we gonna get anything into the budget, any changes into the budget by November? Because the county board is going to say, yes, this is the changes we want in the budget on Tuesday night, and we're gonna meet on Wednesday morning and talk about budget.
Oh,
Okay.
In no way to, I mean, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
the 4th, it can be the 11th, it can be the 16th, it can't be the 11th, I'm gone.
If it's a budget, Don can present that.
But I mean, it has to me, if we're gonna talk about the budget, this committee is out of the budget if we're meeting on the day after the
after
county
the
says,
meeting, yeah.
here's the final budget, Mr. Administrator, get it ready and bring it back in November.
Yep.
That's.
Follow up, Brad, you won't be able to go on vacation.
Start a date.
Yeah,
You're daylight, yeah.
yeah, I'm not even sure what Don's bringing. You guys know was there anything discussed last night that we'll need to look at for this division?
Yeah, I mean, I can't recall anything else that the Environmental Service Division was asking for that was like something that you guys might want to try and twist my arm to say, we got to put in there. I mean, it was pretty.
We're not just twisting your arm, we're coming at the back. That's all I'm getting at is there's no use Don coming to tell us budget stuff the morning after,
Afterwards.
after the county has virtually approved the budget.
How about this? I'll visit with Don today. You'll hear from me on Friday like I always do
Sure,
with,
because then you would add how the DNR forced us into this position too with the dam. And how they have that authority. We will have Miss Malia maybe give us a.
You want
update on
that?
Oh, God,
She'll
yes.
tell you to be quiet, Mr.
I know, but that's why I want to know when she comes. How she got the authority to stomp her foot and tell us to measure muscles. I thought we were hierarchy than that, but I guess we're not. That's terrible.
You should have your own podcast, Kim.
That is just unbelievable that can be done at the last minute.
you know, that
This has
is,
been ongoing for how long and how many dams we drew down, and that's never happened before.
well, again, that's a public works project. So I'm not sure why it's coming to this committee. Just pointing.
Because we're environmentalists. That's why.
But if you'd like for me to draft the agenda,
And if there isn't much, I guess we can decide that.
I'm just letting you know, if you move it to the week after the 6th, I will be at a conference, the Child Support Conference. But if you do it on the
Then we can
4th,
discuss whatever we want. Let's do it that way.
I see what's going on.
I'll keep him in line when you're gone.
Yeah.
I'll sit over there.
Winfall's legal is assigned.
I could have a closed session and have you all moved out too.
But I don't think, I don't think it has to be the 4th. I mean, I think, maybe it does for you, Jeremy. Maybe there's a day that does or doesn't work, but
I'm open.
as long as it isn't the 11th and 12th,
Well, what about?
What's the Wednesday before?
The
it'll be a week
27th?
from today.
We could do a meeting a week from today,
You have to get the agenda out today.
today.
So you'll talk to Dawn today. And then you'll let them know if there's anything.
And if there isn't enough stuff,
Well, yeah, I mean, if we've got nothing to talk about on the budget, I guess then I don't care. That's all I'm getting at is if we're going to, you know, if this committee is going to have a voice in the budget, you know,
yeah,
I don't,
well, I'm thinking if the division needs something in land and water or wherever, that's, we should address it. You know, if you have any other different needs or bigger needs, or
yeah, but if we're not asking for anything as a
we're asking you
division,
to take that step over him if we have to.
I'll visit with Don today and then Friday I'll let you know if we have any
Sure.
content for a meeting next Wednesday. So I'll work on that today.
Yeah, so then it doesn't conflict
Yeah.
with anybody else's dates and stuff. Okay,
so
all right.
what's a week from today?
27th.
Yeah, I'll be gone next Wednesday.
You're gonna be gone anyway. You got us to move it and then you're gonna be
Yeah,
gone.
then I'll be gone. Yeah, I'll be gone on the 26th and the 27th.
Well, what's the weekend after the 4th? Would be the 11th.
Mhm.
That doesn't work because you're gone. And the next Wednesday's the day after the county board.
No,
So
the next one is the 11th, but I'm gone.
you're gone on that one too.
Let me see.
Well,
what I-
between you and Malia, we
Let's
could get
stop.
things done
Mike-
faster
Mike-
when you're not here. So I mean,
I don't
we
think
got,
there's
which
gonna
one is
be
the
any-
worst?
But you guys may not trust me, so.
Yeah. Well, maybe first of all, just find out if there is anything from any of the divisions. If there's not, then it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
And we don't need to. Really what we're saying, Bob, is we don't want to meet and the administrator will just approve anything environmental services wants in the budget.
I do always anyway.
Yeah.
Are we on 13?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank God.
All those in favor, say aye. Opposed?